Hello and welcome to the Table Talk Wednesdays here at the CDL Cafe, where leadership isn't just talked about, it's challenged. This isn't your typical leadership conversation. This is where we gather around the table every week to ask hard questions and put character back to the center of how we lead. Sometimes it's just us, the team, sharing real reflection, and sometimes we pull up an extra seat for a guest whose voice brings fresh perspective, bold insight, and lived experience to the table. Because around here, we believe leadership that isn't rooted in character won't last. Leadership that doesn't challenge the system won't change it. And leadership that's all image and no substance isn't leadership at all. So grab your coffee, lean in, and let's get into today's table talk. Let's go.
I'm not gonna start with the drinks.
You said you're not? Why not?
I'm not gonna start with the drinks. We still have to build this menu,
Well,
you know.
let me tell you something. I found this beautiful drink. It's no alcohols, but it's just so authentic here in Mexico. Have different kind of flavors and it's just delicious, you know. So it's interesting because creativity in business is important too.
So what you're having?
It's cool. It's has a combination Jamaica. It's very fresh. It has also a little bit, I think, of other kind of citrics, but it's completely like a mix. It's very, here in Mexico is coming September 15th, which is Independence Day. So everybody's in the mood of, Independence Day, like a lot of celebrations and things like that. So they just transformed the city. It's beautiful. A lot of culture, traditions, history. So I'm very pleasant to be here right now.
Awesome. Today we're going to talk about a topic that is very interesting. And the reason why I thought about this topic is because we're seeing the ripple effect, if we will say it this way, the ripple effect that is creating it, because so many people, in order for them to keep on going in whatever they're doing in their life, they're compromising. And so the title or the topic for today that we're going to be talking about is, how can you lead without losing yourself? Atala, I'm going to ask you to mute your mic, and once we have a conversation, we'll just, when I ask you or Dr. McKenzie or something, you can just unmute if you don't mind. That will help us more to focus on the conversation. Dr. McKenzie, I want to ask you this question, because I saw your comment that you were looking forward for this conversation. So I'm going to ask you that, like, what comes to your mind when you hear the word losing yourself in the leadership realm?
Well, what I think about is someone who gets lost and who is willing to do anything to be able to be in the position of leadership. I've seen it time and time again where people, they're willing to sacrifice their character, their values, their their integrity, and their principles, all for the sake of a position, all for the sake of a position that they deem to be leadership, or so that they can call themselves a leader, or so that they can have a certain amount of power. A lot of people lose themselves when it comes to power. Leadership is a position of power, and you have a lot of people who are willing to sacrifice on one end in order to be greater on the other end. So that's what I think about when I think about someone who gets lost in leadership, or deems themselves, or how can you get lost? when you're leading as in leadership in the leadership position. So
Mm. You know, I think that media is playing a big role in this by confusing people and showing them shortcuts on how they can achieve things in life. Do you consider this, uh, do you consider the people who fall into this trap, like if they found a shortcut for themselves to become, to add a title or to add a credential to their names? Do you see that this is a kind of losing themselves when they go for a shortcut?
oh, absolutely. And I think that Malcolm X said years ago that the media is the most powerful tool that there is out there because it can present a narrative and it can put people in the position that they think that they have more power than what they actually do, or people lose themselves in wanting to be seen. Was that envy, wanting to be able to be the have the light shining on them, and
Mm,
when you're in positions of leadership, you're going to be in certain industries, marketplaces, you're going to be, in the media, and especially if you are, you working for a Fortune 500 company, or you have very successful business in certain industries and stuff like that. Yeah, you're going to use the media tool. Media in and of itself is a tool, but used the wrong way by the wrong people, it becomes something that is very, very, very dangerous, and people can quickly lose themselves in wanting to have the light shown on them through the media because they know it's a way to be able to reach a large amount of people in a short frame or short period of time, and to be able to be acknowledged and to be able to put themselves on a pedestal, so to speak. So yeah, so media plays a
mm,
part. It's not the only piece or the only part, but it is a part of that where people get lost in that. Trust and believe they get lost in that.
mm, mm. Atali, we want to thank you for, in the middle of your busy schedule, jumping on and being committed to the table talk that we're having every Wednesday. We know that now you're traveling and today you're in Mexico. So thank you for being with us. And again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Like, what comes to your mind when you hear the term losing yourself in leadership?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you to both for also for this opportunity to share. I think that to me, I receive it in different way. I think that, first of all, we know that there is a lot of influence outside. There is a lot of actually pressure, right? A lot of also a lack of, I would say, self-esteem, lack of confidence, also in leadership too. But I will say that, first of all, we need to pause. I will take you through different roads. We need to also understand that when we are having a lot of noise outside, we have less connection with ourselves, even with the purpose that we could have. So I will give you my point of view from well-being perspective. I think leaders need to learn how to pause, learn how to also sometimes disconnect for all these activities. Leaders also need to start investing more time in self love because, again, I'm not talking about just positive thinking, I'm talking about connection, I'm talking about well-being, I'm talking about strengthening our immune system because when the body is stronger, we can make better solutions as well. So I really believe that we need to create a conscious of well-being in leadership as well, because many times leaders are just working from burnout. This is true. Leaders are making decisions without connection, just reaction. So I believe more about taking care the person in, as an individual first, taking care the way that we also are leading people. So I really believe it's more about a culture of well-being in order for us to don't be lost in the middle of making decisions, to also don't just, create decisions without even uh, going back to values, for example, and especially to make decisions from awareness, which is very important. So to me, it's more about taking care the body, the mind, and the spirit of a leader, not just the mind, because everything counts and everything is connected as well.
So here I mean, you gave us a recipe how people can prevent themselves or avoid from being lost. But what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you um, when you hear the term losing themselves in the leadership realm? Like, what does this term overall means to you? Because
For
you
me, it's
already
just,
gave us a recipe how they can avoid losing themselves.
I think for me, it's just practically not just losing yourself, you're losing energy, you're losing a relationship, you're losing business also. When somebody is drained, they cannot function, they cannot make the right decisions. So I think that we need to avoid the, the comparison, we need to avoid the always look outside, we need to avoid the validation that sometimes leaders are looking for, and we need to go back to the basics. I think that leadership in this day is so toxic. We can use that term, because people are always looking for more, we're giving less. We're becoming more and we're becoming less as a human beings. So leadership needs to be, as when they will say, I think it needs to be updated, that term. And needs to be implemented certain characteristics that are so important. We always talk about values, about integrity, about principles, which are all those are true, but I think it needs to be, redirected to well-being. Because when the body is better, the mind is also better.
Mm.
So we can make better decisions in business and in life.
I missed the last thing you said. The voice
That
was cutting.
yes, when the body is better, the mind is also better. So we can make better decisions in business and in life.
Now, you and Dr. McKinsey mentioned values. So my question is going, like, the next question is going to be like, why do you think, and this question goes to Dr. McKinsey, why do you think that many leaders today are compromising their values?
Mm. Well, I think they compromise their values because the power, the prestige, and the the money that comes along with the position of being a leader gets to people. And if you aren't grounded in your values, in your principles, and the way that you live your life, what you will find, which we've seen in a lot of leadership, is that they falter because it's basically, hey, I'm willing to do any and everything to keep this position of power, to keep the money that comes with the position of leadership. And I don't want to, a lot of them don't want to lose that. So they're willing to sacrifice their values for it.
Mm.
I don't care what I have to do to be able to keep that. The money and the power mean more to me. And this is them, not me saying this. I don't want nobody to get that misconstrued. So he's talking about the money and the power, but they feel as if they take that and they say, hey, I put more value in the power and the position than I do my values and the principles or
Mm.
morality that I say that I stand for. You don't have to, people can tell you anything. Leaders can tell you anything. But what it boils down to is how you be able to differentiate a VIP leader, as we talk about here, and a leader that loses themselves is their value system and
Hmm.
what we see them do in action. And if you take a look at that, take a look at any person that's in a position of leadership and look at their actions. Look at what they deem to be, what they deem to value, and it'll show you exactly, whether they are someone that is lost, that gets lost, or whether it's someone that says, you know what, nah, I can't be bought. I'm not worried about the power. I'm the my values and my character mean more to me than the position and the power that I'm in.
Thank you for saying this. Thank you for mentioning this also, because I think that um, people are willing to compromise their values.
Mhm.
To me, like I'm gonna share my input on this, my personal input. Um, it takes time for you to really dig deep and know what are your values and what are your principles. Because you see, when today, when we see people talking a lot about leadership, and leadership word becomes a buzzword, and they start putting, like we spoke about this before, they start putting slogans on the wall, value system that doesn't exist in their daily life. It just exists on the wall. These people are just, you know, implementing something that they have seen, right?
Mhm.
While for me, in order for you to put what means something to you on the wall, it takes time, because you need to experience this thing, you need to witness it, you need to experiment it, you know. Only then it's going to become something anchored in you. And so I believe that people compromise their values today because values are hard to to discover, or to take them from one point to put them in a place where they are anchored. And it's easy for them to make a buck, a buck, or to make money, or to have authority, or to have the spotlight on. It's easier for them. It's a shortcut for them to achieve whatever they want. So that's what I believe. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I will mention something. I think that we need to be so aware that leaders are moving in ego. When a leader is moving in ego, it creates division. It creates also destruction. I mean, there is destruction as well, right? Because there is a lot of individual interests that block the perspective, the vision, the mission. It could be of a company, or it could be in a family as well. So we need to think about also what are the, not just the values. When a person is moving in ego, most 99, I mean, times of the times, it's going to be really a lot of conflict, a lot of division between the members, a lot of division between family members as well. So I believe principles come also with working in those values on daily basis, not once in a while, but on daily basis. Because who it's easy when there is a lot of popularity, a lot of influence. It's easy to be disconnected from your own purpose. It's very easy. You have to be so aware, have a very high level of consciousness, and practice personal growth, spiritual growth, I would say, on daily basis. In that way, when that comes, that ego, that ideas of I coming first, you can be able to confront that. But from awareness, I believe.
Mm, mm. What would you say, Dr. McKinsey?
Well, like I said, I just think that leaders of today, and I hope they hear us when we talk about this, that when you allow yourself to be caught up and can be, swayed to, to go in that direction, that there's a cost to it.
Mm.
There's a cost either way. It's just a matter of which cost are you willing to pay more. And some people are willing to do, whatever that is, whatever cost that is to stay where it is that they are. And they'll hate to say it like this, they'll give it up to the highest bidder. You know what I'm saying?
It seems.
you know. So
How was your day? How was your day?
oh no, my day has been good. It's been busy. I've been trying to. I knew we were going to be having this conversation, but just really kind of thinking about this and thinking about the condition that this world is in when it comes to
Mm.
leadership, and that's why I'm so glad that you aren't afraid to have these conversations that we need to have, and Atalia that she brings with what she does, because this is right up her alley. This is dealing with this. I think daily. I think each of us in our own way we deal with leaders, but having and seeing these individuals and understanding these topics that we're talking about, this is very strategic, and it's something that needs to be put into the forefront these days, and something that needs
Yes,
to be talked about every single day, because we have leaders that are losing themselves,
yes,
and the
sir.
question is, why are you willing to lose yourself to stay in control or be in a position that you deem that people don't even respect you? To me,
Mm.
and I don't know how y'all feel about this, there's nothing worse than a leader that you don't respect.
Mm.
You know, I can't do it. There were folks that I've worked for, that I've worked with. I had absolutely no respect for them, because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
they didn't lead with character. They didn't have character. They lost themselves. I mean, it was one. I was just like, ooh, this dude is gone. I was like, oh, he's willing to do anything to please the people that he deemed could put him in a position of leadership. Or I had people that were arrogant. They thought that the position, because they were in a position, they were entitled to be able to talk to you any kind of way or deal with you any kind of way. Nah, no, sir. That's not going to happen. And
Mm.
we have to have leaders that are willing to challenge that, and to take a look in the mirror. You know,
Yes,
seriously, take a look in the mirror, and
yes.
and can you honestly say that you are happy with what you see? Are you someone who at the end of the night, you don't have a problem falling asleep because of the way that you treated someone or something that you did to someone in some kind of way? That's what that boils down to me. Someone who's lost themselves. They have no conscience, and they have no morality within them.
Mm.
They just don't care.
Mm. Mm. I love this part. Actually, today I came up with something called the TLL, Thin Lines in Leadership.
Mm,
Leadership
hmm
has thin lines, you know, confusing definitions of things. Like now you
hmm
mentioned, uh, like like people think that they mix performance with being consistent. They don't know what's the meaning of being consistent. They just
hmm
perform. They say that I've been there, I have to be there, but not out of consistency, but because like out of performance, you know.
Hmm.
And what you're talking about is when you see somebody who is not who don't have like people don't respect them, it's
Hmm.
because they are performing, they're not leading.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when you
Yeah.
go to a circus, when you go to a
Uh-huh.
circus or you go to a show or something, you see people performing on the stage
Hmm.
and doing their best to make fun of themselves, to make people
Right.
laugh.
Right. And that was
Now,
one of the
um,
things.
yeah,
No, that was one of the
I'm not
things.
talking about the profession. I'm not talking about the profession. No one gets me wrong, please. I'm not
Right.
talking about the profession. I'm talking about the, uh, it's a metaphor, you know. So if you don't give yourself respect, people are not going to respect you. So when you said look in the mirror, when
Yeah.
you look in the mirror, do you respect yourself? Are you the kind of leader that people want to be around?
Right.
This is
I
what you
think,
have to ask.
Yeah, for
sorry
sure.
for sorry for the noise here, but I want to add something. I think looking at the mirror, it is mandatory, but at the same time, so sorry for the noise. But I also will add, listen to your body, because if you are performing from control, from ego, from frustration, from validation, all those things, they have a reaction in your body, believe it or not. So I will say, listen to your body. I will say, pause, and I will also add, see how your relationships are. Because when you build healthy relationships, that's coming for a healthy leadership as well. So I believe we have to also understand that so many times we are leading with the wrong thoughts, with the wrong emotions, with the wrong belief system. So until something happens, we become alert and with the need of asking for help. It's like in coaching. People can come to me, but when they're not ready, they're not going to change anything until something happens. It has to be some pain points when the people want to change. And I think we all have experienced this. Leaders sometimes they avoid the pain. They continue performing. They continue working, but under a pressure, inner pressure that is being not listened to. That makes sense? I'm hoping it
Yep.
is clear because this is very important.
Yeah,
It could
it's
pass
totally
years,
clear.
years, leading the same way. So it's a habit, it's something learned. There is no consciousness there until something comes up.
Right, right. Dr. McKinsey, you were trying to say something, and I was just trying to clarify that I was not talking about the profession. You were trying to say something.
No, when I was in college, one of the companies that came to my school, and specifically for my major, which was hotel restaurant management, was Disney. And
Hmm.
Disney's motto was "You're always on stage." And that can mean different things in different places. But their take was you should always be cognizant of you interacting with the people with the customers, with the clients that we have, and that you should always be in the position of making sure that you are putting on the good face, and you're always acting the right way and everything like that. And that goes to what you were saying about being a performer versus a natural leader. And when you have the mindset, and it can be detrimental when you always feel like you're having to perform, you can lose yourself in that. Some people can lose themselves in that and think that, oh, I've got to put on this mask in order for me to be able to, to be able to get what it is that I want to get out of this person or that person.
Yes.
So we have to be careful, and I do believe that those that lose themselves are in that category of what you always talk about of performers. They are performers. They have put on the mask. They've taken on a character, if you will, from a character because they will do anything and play any type of role that they need to play, excuse me, in order to be able to get what it is that they feel that they need to get from that particular job or that position and everything like that. So the person that that the leader that wants to not lose themselves have to understand that yes, to some degree, I think we all perform, but I also believe that there's a line that we have to not be willing to cross and say, you know what, no, that's not worth my character. That's not worth me sacrificing who I am, and people no longer respect me for who I am as an individual. There are many people that will do that just to keep a job, not even necessarily be in leadership. They'll do it just to keep a job. You know, they don't want to be the one that gets fired. So yeah, they gonna go along to get along so that if there are pink slips that have to be passed out, they won't get one of those pink slips because they played the role. They performed in the manner that they felt was good enough for them to be able to keep their job. You know, so
I
we
like
got to
what
be
you
really
That's
said.
clear.
Yeah, I think that what you say is so important, but also I believe that performing is going to lead you to exhaustion as well, because you can never fake it so much. You know, you're going to get tired. You're not going to have ideas. You're going to feel
Hmm.
drained. So we need to be careful here because it's so true. Many, and I think we all of us, maybe as you mentioned, we have been performing at a certain point, but there is when it comes that alignment, real alignment with
Yeah,
yourself, with your purpose, there is no performing anymore. Whoever is going to accept you, fine. But you're not going to be faking.
yeah,
Absolutely. And that's something that is expressed in leadership. You can tell when somebody's performing and when somebody's authentically leading.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
this is why
And
today I've written. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, in some jobs, they want you to perform. They want you to lose yourself in the name of corporate structure, in the name of their in the name of their vision, in the name of their mission, in the name of taking one for the team. They'll put it in that adage, take one for the team, or they want you to perform a certain way. And the thing that folks didn't like about me in corporate America, I wasn't willing to perform. I was going to be who I was at work. I wasn't one of those people that wanted to tell you what I did this weekend. That ain't none of your business. What I did this weekend. If I want to tell you, I'll tell you so, because I know how some people, they want to gain information from you so that they can peep you out and see if you fit the mold of what they want. So I'm not
Mm.
gonna, yeah, you can't be performative, and when you are performative, sometimes that will get you in trouble because they want you to. A lot of corporations, they want you to perform. They move you into losing yourself. They really do. I don't know if y'all have experienced that, but there are corporations that will move you, try and get you to lose yourself on purpose. You know.
Trust me, I understand what you're talking about, and I did experience that. And this is why the CDL Cafe is on.
Mhm.
It's not an entertainment platform.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, like, I'm not like I'm willing to talk about all the topics that hit on the leadership cracks
Yeah.
because there is something wrong going on,
Hmm.
you know. So
Hmm.
I totally understand what you're talking about. And by the way, like today, when I thought about this topic, especially within this week, I also wrote something that I would love to know your feedback about that speaks to the topic that we're talking about. And it goes like this: leadership cannot be found in the middle. Leadership is on the razor.
Yeah, I saw
What
that.
do
I
you
saw
understand?
that.
What do you understand from this statement?
That's what Tyler. You want her to answer that first?
No. For you, and then we'll talk to Atala because I think Atala is, there's some kind of
Yeah,
kitchen
that's what
going on
I'm trying to
around.
listen now more because he's a little bit nosy, honestly. So I don't want that the connection, I mean, the conversation is not here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
No,
I
you
can hear
good.
you. So yeah, so I'm gonna ask Atala then. Atala, today I've written something I would love to hear your feedback about that is related to our topic that we're talking about. And I said that leadership cannot be found in the middle.
In
It
the
is
mid.
on the razor.
Okay. Well, I think that to me is leadership is found in the critical moments in life. In those moments where they're so sensitive, so transformative at the same time, and so painful. That's what expressed me. That's when people also develops character, develops also a deeper level of awareness, I would say, and develop a real purpose in life. I don't know, I understood it that way. And also that leadership also is based on taking difficult decisions in life. Those difficult moments comes all the time, as I always say in business and in life. But it's in those critical moments when everything is developed and transformed. So this
Hmm.
is my understanding.
What about you, Dr. McKenzie?
Well, when I think of that, it's not in the middle. It's you said razor, correct? Because I saw
Yeah.
you put it in the cafe as one of the quotes. And when I think about that, I think about someone who is principle driven. Someone who's principle driven doesn't hang in the middle. It's either all the way yes or all the way no. This and that goes to when you have principles, you're able to make that distinction. It's a hard yes or it's a hard no. It either fits into my principles and my character that I possess, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't align, as I think as Atala said, if it doesn't align with my principles, I can't do it. And leaders should have that way. That's how I see that. When you said that, when you put that mark, I think of it. It's having those that have a set core principles. They stick to it. They're willing to they're willing to go against the razor because the razor's hard. It's sharp. It can cut, but you're not willing to stay in the you're not willing, you're not someone who says, you know what, I'm gonna be wishy-washy about it, or I'm gonna decide to do it this way this time, but when that same thing comes around I might do it somewhere else where I don't want to upset people, so I'm gonna try and be the person in the middle that, yeah, well, I agree with both sides. I think they were right about this and they were right about that. So they try to play both sides to the middle, so to speak. Like, no, that's not what it is. Call it what it is, or call it what it's not, and be willing to stand on that. As they say, they stand 10 toes down on it. Believe it. Be confident in your decision making. And when you have principles, when you have values, when you have character and morals, those that have it and have it deep inside them are willing to stand on it. They don't want to be in. They're not in the middle on it. They're really not in the middle on it. They're look, I'm willing to take the consequences of what that brings me. That's how
And
that's what
that's
when
why
I hear when you say that.
that's what I meant by the razor.
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
you're gonna you're gonna bleed. Leadership is not easy.
Yep. Yeah. It's not meant for
You
everybody.
are going. Yes. That's why we have movers, we have performers, and then we have leaders because leaders are willing to bleed.
Hmm.
Leaders are not are not willing to compromise anything, no matter what the circumstances are. Like now, when you spoke about this person who was like avoiding to be fired and working for a company that is required, like asking him to perform,
Hmm.
you know, a true leader will not accept that.
Correct. Correct.
and he's going to just let the paycheck go,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and
And
he's going to be criticized, and his family or her family are going to throw words at them.
hmm
But at the end, he is the winner.
But I think
yeah.
that all this that we're talking about, it comes with, again, with personal growth, with emotional intelligence. I will say spiritual growth as well. Because when we have values, when we have principles, when we have moral, there is no way that we can just, you know, eh, continue performing like when we were, I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Leadership also is evolution. And it's about being open to learn more, being open to know more about the human behavior, about people needs as well. I think it's about a little bit more humanistic, the leadership that I'm talking about. But when you connect at a human level, it's easier to lead others as well. So it comes more natural. Making decisions also, it comes with that preparation when you are putting not just the problem in front of you, but you or the people in front of you. You are putting the value, the principle, the discipline, the commitment, all these ingredients in front of you to really lead from the heart, I will say.
I totally agree with you, but here's the thing. There are so many people who are taking advantage of what you have just said. I've seen it happening, you know,
hmm
and they turned the caring and the connection into dramatic kind of leadership. I'm not saying that I'm against what you said. What you said is the heart of leadership, because as Bernice, like our last guest, said, that leadership is servanthood. It is servanthood. It's the heart of leadership, right? But when we present leadership as the way
hmm
you're saying, so many manipulators are going to take advantage of this.
Yeah.
We need to face
Yes,
that.
but that's where, again, when you are aware about how people move in resentment, in anger, in frustration, in control, in manipulation. All those things are real. That's the value that people move. Not just in leadership, human being. It is so difficult to find people who move with love, with compassion, with empathy. It's so difficult. That in reality is very
Exactly.
minimal, the amount, the percentage of people in the world. But what I'm saying is that once that you know what are the emotions that usually people in general moves, it's easy to contrast those emotions. That makes sense? Because you have the awareness. You know how people move. People move to move.
100%.
That's the
100%. You're right. You're right, 100%. And thank you for sharing this, because here's the thing that I need to make clear in front of, or to the listeners. You know, character-driven leadership is designed to make you understand what does really leadership mean. You know, if you don't understand what does it mean, you will think any kind of performance is leadership. So what we're tackling here, we're talking about leading with character. And leading with character is the beginning. It's the backbone. It's the center of leadership. Once you understand how to lead with character, then you will know how servant leadership works the right way, and you will be able to spot those who are manipulating and playing around this concept called leadership, this concept called servant leadership. So I'm glad that we are here, the three of us, talking from different perspectives. At the end, we're connecting. We're having the same message in a different angle. We're not against each other. We need to make everything clear to the listeners. We need to make everything clear to those who are joining or being a part of the CDL Cafe. And this is the aim, because at the end, we are going to be solving leadership cracks for the days to come. It's not going to stop here. So I love this conversation, and thank you guys for bringing this into this conversation. And we were talking about it like openly. And You're 100% right. 100% right. But we need to make it clear from which angle we should see the thing that we're talking about. I don't know if that's clear.
No, I think it's very clear. I think that and you brought up something that I think is very vital to this conversation too, is leaders have to understand that they're in a position to serve and not to allow themselves, yeah, understanding who you are there to serve. You're not there to
Mm,
serve the folks that may be above you, or you're not there to serve people who are in position to be able to put you into a position of power. You're there to serve a certain, if you're an entrepreneur, you're serving your leaders, or you're serving your clients. If you are an entrepreneur, you're there to serve the people that work with you and that work for you. And if you are a leader or in a leadership position, you're there to ensure that those that work for you are in the position to do what they need to do. And even those that may be above you, that they understand how you actually bring serve them or bring value to the position that you're in, and not to see and as a leader, you got to understand that you have a certain value, and you diminish that value when you lose yourself. You know,
mm,
and it's crucial for us to understand. Don't don't lose your value along with yourself by being willing to do any and everything for the position that you're in. I was listening to, and I'm not going to say any names or whatever, but I was watching a show on cable, and they were interviewing this guy, and he was talking about his position. He was talking about him, and he was saying how when he first started at his position, that the position that he was in, he didn't say no. He said yes to everything. And
mm,
so he said the owner of the company, when it came, they were looking at, I guess, looking at the figures and stuff like that, and he was supposed to be paid a certain amount of money, but he actually wound up making more just because of the way the dynamics of it or whatever. And he's like, well, why are we paying him all of this money? And he said I guess his manager or supervisor was like, because he doesn't say no. And a person that doesn't say no is the person that loses themselves and is willing to do
mm.
any and everything. To me, is willing to do any and everything in order to be able to placate to those that that are others that may be above you in leadership. And to me, that's not a good thing, because you're sacrificing your character, and you're like, huh, throw my character out the door. I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to do any and everything because they deem that as being valuable.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
when in actuality it's not.
You mentioned something
You've
important.
lost your value.
Yes, you
Now
lose
go
your
ahead and tell
value,
me.
and also you're always looking for that validation, and you are creating in your mind that because you say yes, that's even getting more approval or more acceptance. So it's very interesting because you can see this in just in regular, not just leaders, in people's lives. When we say yes to everything, we are not performing from acceptance, from validation, from even from energy, because you are drained once again. And you are going to be always looking for that validation to keep you going.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be lack of performance. That's for sure. And also lack of self confidence, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
let's have a let's give the listeners a bank of practical steps. Like, I'm gonna go with Atala first. I want you to give me practical steps for people to protect their identity under pressure. What are some practical steps that they can take?
I
to
think
protect their identity?
I will always invite people to breathe because I think breathe changes the mechanism in your body, the energy also. So not just breathing, when I'm talking about breathing, I also invite people to go to one of the most important moments in their lives where they were performing with self-confidence. We all have those moments in our lives in where we feel so great about ourselves, where we have energy, where we are feeling so creative. So go back to those moments, connect with that kind of, feeling, energy, creativity, and from there start connecting in the day to day. I think there is something very important here. When you connect with moments like this, your energy changes, but also your stress level decreases. So, in order for us to perform, we have to be more at peace with ourselves, to have more clarity, understanding, and direction. Breathing, connecting with those moments, writing, definitely, rewriting every day, 5 minutes is beautiful. You're gonna see your, so sorry for the noise. You're gonna see there your emotions, your thoughts, your belief systems, and from there it's easier to transform them. And lastly, every day detox yourself. Go through your day in the night. This is what I didn't like, why I didn't like it, and how I can change it. In that way, you don't overlap emotions over and over to the next day.
Thanks, Atala. Dr.
You're
McKinsey,
welcome.
practical steps.
Yeah, I think everything to me begins with your mindset. You have to have the right mindset, and you, like we said before, looking in the mirror and asking yourself, why are you in the position of leadership? Are you in there to be a performer, like you always say? Are you there to be a mover, or are you there to be a leader? You've got to ask yourself that question. You got to answer that question first. And that has to do with your mindset and why you're there. I think the second thing is you have to talk about what's the vision that you have for yourself in the position. Where do you see yourself in the position? Is it a position that you're there for the here and now, or is it is it something that you see developing long term for you? So, what's your vision for being in the position? You got to set you have to have principles and boundaries. Principles and boundaries will allow you to be able to understand and know what you will accept and what you won't accept, what you're willing to say yes to, and what you have to say no to. So you got to have boundaries and principles, and developing those. What I call them my PVS and my BVS, my brand value system and my personal value system. And if what that position is doesn't align with my personal value system or the brand value system that I see with the company organization, I don't want that position because it's gonna cause me to lose myself. Um, Being authentic. We talk about that all the time here in the cafe. Being authentic. You gotta be authentic. What does authentic mean to you? It's not being a performer. Being true to yourself so that at the end of the night or in the in the morning when you look in yourself in the mirror, you can say, I like that person. I'm being true to that person that I see in the mirror. And then the last thing is it being in alignment. Is that leadership position that you're in alignment with who you say you are at the end of the day? And if it's not in alignment with who you say that you are, yeah, you're just performing. You're performing. You're not a leader. You're performing. You're not a leader. You're a mover, and you're willing to do what movers do, and you're willing to do what performers do, not what leaders do. Leaders don't allow themselves to be able to get lost in the leadership role and the leadership position. So that to me, those are the steps that I would tell a leader or those that are listening to us today. That's what I would say to them.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I was going to ask you, what kind of system can the future leaders have in place in order for them to protect their character. But I believe that you already answered this question by saying or by mentioning the BVS and the
Hmm.
PVS.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so this is the thing. I think we are on the top of the hour, so we have a lot to talk about. But again, we have to respect the time. And thank you so much, Atala, for your commitment and consistency. And thank you, Dr. McKinsey, for your input. This is what we are aiming for in the character-driven leadership. Make sure that you are a part of this community. We promise that we're going to be adding more. There are more to come because we need to fulfill our promise, which is we are here to help you become a VIP leader, a leader who walks with values, integrity, and principles. Do you have anything to say, Dr. McKinsey,
No, I
before
just
we
think
close out?
I think I hope that you know that those that are watching, those that will watch the replay, that they write down these things that we talked about to see, so that you don't lose yourself. Because at the end of the day, we don't want you to lose yourself in the position that you're in as a leader. And like we said, leaders don't lose themselves. Leaders are those that make people or command that people respect that who you are, and don't get lost in being there for the position or the power or the prestige and all those things that come with the position of leader, of being
Why
a
we don't invite them
that's
to
it.
write, why we don't invite them to write their own values, their own principles, because they're different from us. But they can be a good guide, for them in every decision that they're making in life and in business. It's going to be easier for them. So why we don't invite them, write their own principles, their own values, the integrity, including this one, and it's going to be like you know, a very easy way to perform, to make decisions easier, more naturally, and with more clarity and peace.
Sure. So we are inviting you to share your principles, your values, and the takeaways that you heard us talking about, because we want to help you become a VIP leader. Feel free to reach out, to share, to comment, and I'm going to ask you, if you have something in mind that you want us to talk about, feel free to share it with us, connect with us, subscribe to the channel, join our Facebook group. Um, you have all the platforms that we are on as a community. Share your thoughts, what you would like to hear more about, um, what are the things that you need to 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 reach your goal as a character-driven leader. Because again, we are helping you here to become a VIP leader. So you heard it from me, from Dr. McKinsey, from Atala. If any one of you have a final word, we're gonna listen to it. Otherwise, we have to sign off, and we will see you next week. Atala, any word?
Just once again, write write what is better for you based on your stories, based on your experience, based on your wisdom, based on your needs. But write it down. It's easier when you see it in paper. Your thoughts has different processes, but once that you put it in paper, has more clarity. So this is something that I think has to be done like a priority. In that way, your life is going to become easier. Not because you're not going to face challenges, but becomes easier to make any decision.
Awesome. Dr. McKinsey, I cannot get enough of your wisdom.
Oh, thank you. But this is what this is all about, man. It's about sharing wisdom and making people, at the end of the day, for me, is making people better, making entrepreneurs better, making leaders better, and making organizations better. And the way we do that is by having platforms like this that are willing to tell the truth and are willing to talk about the issues and the challenges and the pain points that others aren't willing to be able to talk to. So when you do that, I think you make people better.
You forgot something.
What's that? What I forget?
Making nations better.
Oh, making nations better. Absolutely. Yeah, and right about now, we got a lot of nations that need to be made better. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. All right, guys.
So
We
true.
said it. You heard it. We shall see you next week, and we will be having a guest next week. So stay tuned to it.
Alright, that's it for this week's Table Talk Wednesdays. If this conversation sparks something for you, don't just scroll past it. We want you to share this with someone who leads or want to lead with character at the center. Also, we want you to drop your thoughts in the comments. Trust me, we read everyone. And if you believe that your voice could add something to this movement, don't hesitate to reach out. We will be back next Wednesday with another conversation that matters. Until then, lead with truth, lead with courage, and most of all, lead with character. Peace upon you.